my screen because the internet is not in its best shape.
Sorry, Rachel, you muted.
I would like to welcome you all to our webinar series where we explore and share different dimensions of agriculture and share also our real life experiences shaping the sector, especially those that are connected to young people. This webinar series is proudly supported and delivered by a collaboration from AGRA, Southern African Development Community, SADC, and the East African Community as we work together to support young people within the region. We have showcased different agriculture value chains in the past. We have showcased non-timber forests, poultry, aquaculture, aquaponics, just to mention a few. But today's topic is very, very important. And in most cases, when we are talking about entrepreneurship, we don't talk about it enough. And today we are focusing on mental health in agriculture. So in today's session, we will explore the common stress and mental health challenges that young agripreneurs face. And today we have our wonderful speakers, Robert Mwangi. We also have testimonials from two young people, Irene and Charles Oyamo. I hope they're already in the room. I just did the welcoming part. I'm going to hand over to Kimathi, who is the youth policy officer in the East African Community, to do the facilitation and invite and introduce the speakers. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, Rachel. Good afternoon, everyone. Let me just also do what Rachel has just done, to briefly switch on the video link and then switch it off, in the interest of just ensuring that we have better quality sound. I think it's even worse than I thought. Thank you. So just to set the ball rolling, first of all, good afternoon and a warm welcome to a regional webinar on mental fitness for youth agripreneurs. It is truly encouraging to see so many of you young agripreneurs, partners, and ecosystem actors gathered for this timely session. We all understand, obviously, that building an agribusiness is a powerful and transformative idea, but it is also intensely demanding, as we've all experienced probably. Markets are becoming very unpredictable lately. The weather patterns are increasingly irregular. For those of us in East Africa, you appreciate that we are still wondering what to make of the rains that we have seen since February, at a time that we usually have a very dry season. Many of us are still, we have issues around payments being delayed, and at the same time, we carry expectations from family, our communities, and investors. And when you put all of these things together, they can become overwhelming. Yet we rarely create safe spaces to talk honestly about the mental and emotional load that young entrepreneurs are carrying. And this is exactly why the East African Community Secretariat, FANAPAN, and AGRA, and obviously in concert with our colleagues from SADC, have brought us here today. Over the next 2 hours, we will explore how to remain focused, resilient, and emotionally steady when business pressures intensify. This particular session actually combines practical mental fitness tools with real-world entrepreneurial experience, offering a youth-centered space for open reflection, shared stories, and practical learning. This is not really a nice to have, really. It's not a side conversation that you want to have. It really speaks directly to our regional priorities, including implementation of the regional agri-food systems investment plan and the CADEP Kampala commitments on youth, by acknowledging that the well-being of young entrepreneurs is central to building resilient and inclusive agri-food systems. We also have to appreciate the fact that strong agribusiness requires strong minds behind them. So when youth agripreneurs are mentally fit, we know for a fact that they take better decisions, They recover more quickly from setbacks and participate more confidently in markets, networks, and policy dialogues. So even as we get started today, I encourage you to be fully present. Please ask as many questions as you want, share your own experiences, and reflect on your own journey. This space has been created for you, and we hope that together we will be able to explore how to cultivate not only stronger farms and enterprises, but also stronger minds to sustain them over the long term. The person who wants to start the meeting here today, Robert Mwangi, has been in this space for quite a while. And, for those of you who attended the East African Youth in Agri-Food Systems Expo last year in Nairobi, you benefited from his, wide experience in counseling and supporting mental fitness for the youth. So I will allow Robert to come in and just make his presentation, and then thereafter we can continue from there. Robert?
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Kimathi. So allow me to say good afternoon to all. Bon après-midi. My name is Coach Robert Mwangi. I'm a youth mentor, and I'm delighted to be here today so that we can all be able to share on this very important topic of mental fitness. I'll start saying something small about myself, then I will quickly go to our 3 key areas for today. So I've said Coach Robert Mwangi. I'm a youth. I'm 34 years old, and I live with a disability. I'm visually impaired. I lost my sight when I was 12 years old. And of course, it was difficult, but through support from the family, the doctors, I was able to get back on my feet. I was able to complete my education, and now I'm in this line of coaching, mentoring, and encouraging people. So today, as we begin this meeting, I want to say thank you very much to each one of you who have been able to create time so that we can come together and we can be able to share. Today, we are going to talk about mental fitness. You see, many other times when we are agripreneurs, we focus and we succeed so well in managing our crops. We manage the markets. We manage our losses. But more oftenly, we forget to attend or to manage our emotions. And therefore, you will find that we could be doing well in the farm and in the whole of the value chain, but mentally, emotionally, we are not doing well. So for a minute today, we will pause and think about our mental fitness, think about our emotions, so that when we are able to tackle that, we can even be able to do better when it comes to our agri businesses. We will focus on 3 key areas today. Number 1, understanding emotional dumping. Number 2, building resilience. And number 3, recognizing a burnout before breakdown. So I'll start with a question. When you think about yourself when you are emotionally overloaded, what do you normally do with those emotions? When you feel that your emotions are at a level that you cannot be able to manage them by yourselves. This could be emotions of frustrations. They could be emotions of anger. They could be emotions of disappointment. What do you normally do when you feel you are so much overloaded emotionally? When you talk about emotional dumping, this is what many people do. We could be doing it. Other people could be doing this on us. This is whereby someone offloads their emotions on the other person without regulating them, and they get to overload the other person so much. Let me give an example. Think of a lorry and think of a pickup. A pickup is much smaller than a truck. So if you get all the contents or the load in the truck and you offload it onto the pickup, the pickup will not be able to carry the load because the pickup was not even designed to carry that amount of a load. This is what happens with emotional dumping. Because I could be so much loaded emotionally, I could be having the worst of my day to day. And when I meet you next, even without getting your consent, even without me thinking of the context, I start offloading my emotions on you. You see, many times we will say, but we are friends, and friends do talk. I can pick my phone and call you because you are my friend, and I can do emotional dumping on you. But I've not gotten to the point of asking myself, number one, have I regulated the emotions that I'm feeling first? Number two, have you given me the permission to be able to share the emotionally draining thing that I could be going through? And number three, do you have the capacity to help me process the emotional burden that I could be having? If I do not ask that, it will be like that case of that truck carrying tons and tons of loads and maybe offloading that into a pickup that was not designed to carry that amount of a load. So my point is this. When we are going about our agripreneurship every day, it is very important to be very much aware of the emotional burdens that we could be having. And each one of us has got emotional burdens. Each one of us has got some emotional weight because we are human beings and we are living in a world that is not perfect. Your crop in the farm may not have done well, and therefore you feel very much frustrated. And if you're not careful with understanding emotional dumping, you might pick that frustration that you're feeling and you offload it on your very innocent workers. It could be the market. Maybe due to something, people do not have the money to purchase what you have produced. And now because the market was not good, you got very disappointed. That disappointment, if you're not careful with it, you might go home and offload it onto your family. What do I mean? When we are going about our day-to-day activities in our businesses, in our farms, it's very important to be very aware of where we are emotionally. And when we get to realize where we are emotionally, we can be able to tell, am I feeling so much loaded emotionally? Am I in a good state emotionally? So that now when you meet the next person, you won't get into that point of emotionally dumping on that other person who might not even be having the capacity to be able to assist you with what you are going through. It's therefore very important that when you feel you are not in a good emotional state, pause for a moment. Ask yourself, what exactly am I feeling? When you get to identify exactly what you are feeling, for example, you name it, I'm feeling frustrated. And this frustration is so much wearing me down. Then you can be able to ask yourself the second question, with this level of frustration, what would be the next most healthy thing for me to do? And maybe due to this pausing and naming the frustration that you're feeling, you might decide, no, I won't call so and so because I'm not sure whether they have the capacity to be able to help me with offloading what I'm feeling today. Maybe what I need is to reach out to a therapist so that I can express exactly what I feel and the amount of weight that I'm feeling deep within. And then the therapist can help me process the frustration that I could be having. You might pinpoint and say, what I'm feeling from deep within is a lot of anger. And this is because the person I was to supply my produce to maybe got another supplier without informing me. So I'm getting to know this at the very last minute when I've packed, I'm on the road, and they can't open the gate for me in that school to deliver the eggs that I was to deliver. So I'm feeling very angry. Now, when you pause for a minute and you ask yourself, exactly what emotion am I carrying? And it is anger. Then you will pause and ask yourself, okay, do I pick a phone and call so and so? Is the person going to help me through this? Then if yes, you can go ahead. Maybe they have another market they know, so they can easily be able to offer a solution. But if no, this anger that I'm feeling deep within may need a therapist to help me process it. So when we pause for a minute and we get to name the emotion that we could be feeling, we are getting to be back on track. We are getting to be back in control, and we are standing on a very stable ground. Remember, at any given time, the moment you're able to name an emotion, you can be able to tame it. But if one has not gotten to the point of being able to name the emotion that they are feeling, then the emotion takes over, the emotion is in control, and now you are not in control of your own life. So whenever we think about this area of emotional dumping, let us remember at all times, when you feel you're not yourself, pause for a moment and ask yourself, exactly what am I feeling? So that when you're able to name exactly what you're feeling, then you can be able to tame it. And now the moment you get to tame it, you know exactly where to go to next so that you can be assisted to be able to stabilize or to be in control of exactly the emotion that could be terrorizing you at that particular moment. Remember, when we are talking about emotional dumping, we could be the ones doing emotional dumping on other people, or other people could be doing the emotional dumping on us. Remember, we are encouraging each one of us not to do emotional dumping, and instead to do what we call healthy venting, whereby if I have been able to pinpoint that I'm feeling frustrated and I know for sure this one is too much for me, I can reach out to you either in person, I can make a call and tell you, I have something that is going on in my life. Could you be having a minute for me to share? And maybe what I want from you is not even a solution at the moment, but for you to hear me out and then guide me on where I can be able to find a solution of what could be terrorizing me in form of an emotion. When we're able to get to that point, then we are doing very well as far as emotions are concerned. So at this particular point, we can pause for a minute and ask ourselves, during the moments when emotions are too high, this could be in the farm, this could be in the business, this could be in the tech that you support the agripreneurs in, and emotions are too high. This could be emotions of frustration. This could be emotions of disappointment. This could be emotions of anger. This could be emotions of being hot-tempered, emotions of sadness. When they are too high, what do you do next? Have you been falling onto the trap of dumping your emotions on another person, even without thinking of how capable they are to help you process that? Or have you been very keen to ensure that you are doing healthy venting, whereby you take a chance and a moment to ask the other person, I'm going through something. Could you have a minute? Could you give me an ear? Could you help me process this? Or could you even refer me to where I can be able to get the help? Remember, if emotionally we are so much loaded and we have that urgency of offloading this, we might find ourselves getting to do emotional dumping on other people. And if you are not aware, other people also, when they are so much loaded and they have that urgency to get to a point of relief, they might offload those emotions on us. And we might not be having the capacity to be able to process that. So when it happens to you that another person is offloading on you and you have this awareness, you can respectfully tell the person, please pause for a moment. What you're sharing with me is too heavy. At the moment, I'm also carrying quite a lot. I might not be able to assist you at this particular moment, but I can refer you to a person who can assist you. This is not being selfish, but this is out of you being aware of the capacity and what you can be able to carry, what you can be able to handle, that you are creating this boundary so that you don't find yourself in the situation whereby I have offloaded so much on you, you have your own emotions that you're trying to deal with, and you get to the point of breaking down. So, my brothers and sisters, today, when you think about emotional dumping, remember of that metaphor of a truck that is carrying tons and tons of produce. And this truck is offloading these tons of produce onto a pickup. A pickup is not designed to be able to carry that amount of load. A pickup cannot be able to handle that, and that pickup will eventually break. So when it comes to emotional dumping, and you remember this metaphor of the truck and the pickup, ask yourself, am I the truck today, or am I becoming the pickup? Am I the pickup today, or am I the truck? Because this will keep on changing with the time. Today, I might be the one who is carrying a lot of load emotionally. Tomorrow, you could be the one who is carrying a lot of emotions, and you have to process that. I have to process that in a healthy way so that we are not carrying what we cannot be able to process, what we don't have capacity for. And again, we are not putting that on other people who don't have the capacity to be able to process those kind of emotions. Remember, if emotions are not managed, they do not go away. They keep on accumulating, and eventually we find ourselves in the state of burning out. And that brings us to our second part of burnout. And maybe before I go to the second part of burnout, I don't know, Mr. Kemadi, if Charles is on board to be able to say something about emotional dumping, an experience he could have gotten in his area.
Yes, Coach Robert, I am.
Yes, he's
Charles,
in the
you're on
room.
board.
Yes, I am.
I hope you've been following.
Yes, I have. And thank
Do
you
you
so
have
much.
any experience of emotional dumping whereby someone has offloaded the emotions on you, and because you are afraid to them, maybe you're not able to tell them, oh, pause for a minute, I can't be able to handle this. So you just listened to the point that even the compassion was wearing away, and you feel like you want to avoid the person, you don't want to pick the call from the person because they have continuously been offloading the emotions on you and you don't have the capacity.
Yes. Now that I didn't know that was the term for it, but in my journey of building my business, for context, I lead the team at Rethread Africa. So in my journey of building Rethread, I picked up friends along the way, and then the fact that you seem to be knowing what you do. And I use the term you seem to be knowing because ideally you don't know, but to the outside world, because things every single day you wake up and like you do something, people seem to think you know what you do. So you'll have people come to you every single time they are down or something is not going right, be it in their business or in their work. And they find you as the place where they come to get their problem solved. So yes, I have had cases of emotional dumping to the extent I think some of those relationships, now looking back, are not as good or as healthy as I thought they would be. But also, Coach Robert, I think even for me, there are points
Yes.
where I have, now that I think about it, there are points where I have emotionally dumped on personally my family. Because they are not founders in the same way I am, or they're not building a business in the same way I am. So they don't know
Yes.
the integrities of what's happening. But every single time you think things are not working, the person you go to is that one very trusted friend or that family member where you seem to find solace. And you think you're finding solace, but as you've explained it, Coach Robert, I think it's emotional dumping in a sense because it's just it's you are removing from a truck and putting into a pickup. So that analogy is so vivid in my day-to-day experience because sometimes it's and I think probably and I'll be throwing a span into the works by saying this and just I know you're not up for a question, but like from my experience, just to like reiterate what you said, yes, I've had both experiences both from being the person who being the pickup truck that gets offloaded from the truck, and also being the truck that offloads into a pickup truck. But I think how do you then gauge that relationship? How then do you say, okay, this is too much information to share with this person, I'll be overburdening them, or stuff like that. I think that's what I'm trying to navigate even right now. And that's why probably like I'm in this session with the rest of the other agripreneurs. So that's been like my experience. Not to talk too much about it, but yeah, building generally, I think I'll tie it to the personal story.
Thank you.
Building is very
Thank
difficult. So when we started building Rethread, which was about 2 or 3 years ago, because we started when I was still in school, so in university at the University of Nairobi. And then that transition, back then it was just a project that you were doing. And then that transition into being a registered company in 2023 on the 18th of April.
Yes.
That journey has been, for me, I didn't have this dream of being an entrepreneur or a business person or a founder. I found myself there because there was this project and I could see how that project would positively affect my community. So I come from a place called Migori. For those of us who are
Yes.
not aware of Migori, Migori is a small it's a county in Kenya. In Southern Africa, you call them districts, but what we do
Yes.
predominantly is people farm. For us,
Yes.
it's sugarcane and maize in that order. Oh, and tobacco also. And these farmers are some of the poorest people you'll come across. And I think that story is true for every single one of us from the continent.
Yes.
So for me, the dream was, is there something I can do as Charles that would benefit these people or these communities? And
Yes.
that ignorance is bliss when you're starting because you don't know a lot of the nitty-gritties or regulation or
Yes.
policies or taxes. And then when you start navigating it as a business, then
Yes.
then you know the taxman doesn't know that you're just a university student. Yeah, they're like, but you're a retail business. You're supposed to like pay taxes. You're supposed to have licenses and approvals and permits. So that's
Yes.
when the emotional burden starts building up, and it's a snowball effect. It starts very,
Yes.
very small. It could start as
Yes.
small as in the early days, how do we have enough funding for us to not shut down? And then that
Yes.
morphs into, okay, how do we become profitable? To then,
Yes.
how do we have a product that people love? And if you've not solved it in the early days, it's a snowball effect. So it's a small thing that becomes massive as you go buy and buy and buy. And then along the way, you find, I've seen a couple of names I know like Aikade. You find people like Aikade from Agra. And when you meet Aikade, as agripreneurs from our end, and this is something that Agra does really, really well. I don't know about Irene's experience, but Irene can also share into this.
I'll
We
give her a
have
chance when I talk about burnout next.
Yeah, yeah. So when you meet the likes of Aikade from Agra, what we do is we emotionally dump on Aikade. And I think even also as you're talking, Coach Robert,
Yes.
Aikade and Kimathi and the whole team from Agra, they work a
Yes.
lot with people like us.
Yes. Yes.
And we forget their role. So sometimes it's
Yes.
when we meet them, so these are the guys who want to help us. Now this is where I dump
Yes.
all my problems.
I get
From
it.
this conversation, don't be surprised, Coach Robert, if
Yeah.
one of us reaches out to you and they're like, Coach Robert, I know
It's
you
okay.
talked about this, but so yeah, so
Yes.
that
It's okay.
happens a lot. And I think my experience, just to cut it short and bring it back, bring the question back to you, Coach Robert, is yes, I've had those experiences, both
Yes.
happening to me and me doing them, emotionally overloading other people or emotionally dumping
Yes.
my experiences to other people. So yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And of course, I'll be able to pick more questions towards the end. And let me just say that this aspect of emotional dumping when we are not aware of it, we keep on emotionally dumping on other people because we are not aware. And other people will also emotionally dump on us because we are also not aware and they are not aware of what is happening. But the moment we get this awareness that emotional dumping is this one, then we try as much as possible not to do it on other people, to limit ourselves. And again, when other people are emotionally dumping on us, we are careful and we are keen to know this is emotional dumping. It's going to drain me, and I'm not ready to do this. Please remember that this emotional dumping happens in all aspects of our life. This could be happening in our agriculture, in our businesses. It could even be happening in our homes. And the key thing you can note is whereby someone is speaking to you, speaking and speaking. They are not pausing. They do not want to listen to you. They are just speaking at you. You're not speaking with them. So it is one way. And this kind of speaking makes you feel overwhelmed. And you feel like you want to run away. You don't want to be with this person because yesterday you met, they spoke, they complained. The day before yesterday, they had complained. They call you, they are complaining. It's a lot of draining that is happening one way. Because when it becomes to emotional dumping, it is just one way, it is just draining, it is just complaining, and there is no intention of finding a solution. But when we turn to healthy venting, this person is expressing how they feel with their consent, and they are looking for a solution. They are looking for a way out. But remember, with emotional dumping, the person is not looking for a way out. They are just complaining and complaining and complaining, and they do not even want your solution because they're not even giving you a chance to talk. They're just talking and talking and talking and draining you completely. Remember, we've concluded by saying that when we do not manage our emotions, those emotions of feeling overwhelmed do not go away by themselves. The best they do is to accumulate. They accumulate to the point that you find now you are burning out. And now, what is this burnout that we are talking about? You see, when you talk about burnout, this is whereby you find that you are in a deep state emotionally, mentally, and physically of being exhausted. So when you listen to your body, you listen to your mind, you listen to your emotions, you are so much exhausted. And this could be because you've overextended yourself without being keen to rest and to restore yourself. So maybe you've been working. You've not rested. You've not restored yourself. And now you're finding yourself in this desperate, deep state of emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion. Let me give a metaphor because people might remember a metaphor and not anything that I'm going to say. Just an example to make us bring burnouts closer to home. Think of a battery. This could be like the battery in a car. A battery gives energy. A battery can make an engine run. A battery can light bulbs. So a battery basically gives energy. So just think of a battery, a very big battery that is fully charged. This battery will continue giving you the energy that you require as long as you are recharging it. But now when it comes to burnout, this battery, big battery, is fully charged. You are using the energy in it, but you are not charging it. So you are spending the energy, until now the battery is depleted. When the battery is depleted, the battery is of no use anymore because it has no energy in it. And this is how most of the times in agripreneurship we do. You might find yourself that you are doing literally everything. And maybe because you started at the bottom there, when you are doing much of maybe that daily farming, you are doing it by yourself because maybe you started with 2 cows. Now you already have 10 cows. And you still want to do everything by yourself because you are fearing people will come and steal. You are fearing people will not do a good job like you do. You are fearing people will mess up with your milk production. Yeah, you start with the poultry farming with about 100 chicken. Now you already have 1,000, but you still want to do everything because you are so fearful that these people will come and start stealing eggs from me. These people will not clean the feeding places for my chicken like I could. These people will not keep the hatcheries as clean as I want them to be. So you're finding yourself doing all that. And even when it comes to going to the market, you are the one who wants to take everything to the market. Maybe you are distributing your produce to 10 people. You are the one who wants to literally go to those 10 people. Delegating to you is a nightmare. And maybe you could be having even excuses that you had employed someone and they did mess you in one way or another. So you want to be doing everything. So what you're doing without knowing, you're overstretching yourself too much. And you're even doing more than you can do as a human being in one day. So you're finding yourself that you're waking up at 4 a.m. in the night and you go back to sleep close to midnight because you're the one who want to do everything. You want to be everywhere. You've not gotten to understand that when you are growing, and it is good that your business is growing, you can have a system that you can supervise without having to be doing everything with your hands. If you think about a person who is coming from down there and growing up the value chain, and they have not allowed anyone to do anything for them, they want to do everything by themselves, burnout could have caught up with them many times. How can you tell that burnout is catching up with you? Because what happens with burnout, it grows slowly and gradually, and until you get to the point of breaking down, many people do not realize that what they are having is burnout. Yeah, emotionally they could be feeling so depleted that they are numb. Even when a person is going through a very hard time, they are not paying attention to that person. Even when themselves they are paining, they are having some sadness, some loss. They don't even feel the loss. They don't feel the sadness. Emotionally, they are numb. It is their brain trying to protect them because the brain knows that they are exhausted, they are burning out. So it activates that numbness. So you seem like a person who is numb. When people are happy, you're not happy. When people are sad, you're not sad. You're just there. You are flat in how you do with the emotions. You're just flat because you've already gotten to the point of burning out. If you think about yourself cognitively and mentally, maybe you're a person who made decisions very quickly. But now, even making a simple decision is taking a whole century. You are so slow in your decision making. You are a person who could be able to concentrate for an extended period of time. But now you've gotten to the point that concentrating for 5 minutes is a very big problem. You are the kind of a person who could solve problems. But now, even the smallest of problems, they seem so complicated and so complex to you. You feel you don't have the energy to be able to solve those problems. You feel like you just want to run away. Simply because you are approaching burnout cognitively. If you think about yourself in terms of behavior, you're a person who used to be very social with other people, but now you've withdrawn. You want to be by yourself. You're isolating yourself. You do not want to interact with other people. You have started procrastinating. And procrastination was not something that you're doing there before, but now you're procrastinating so much until you have a backlog of 4 weeks or even 2 months. So when you look at the backlog, you just give up because it is too much. But what has been happening? You've been procrastinating. And why? Maybe because you are burning out and you're not aware that you're burning out. Remember, during this moment that burnout is building up, because it does this very slowly, you might be out there meeting deadlines. You might be out there smiling. You might be out there attending to everyone else. You know, outwardly, you could be seen that you are functioning, but inwardly, you are running so much empty. And if you don't catch it at this particular moment, if you completely run drained inwardly, you end up giving up and you end up feeling like nothing matters because now your body has already switched itself to survival mode. And you know, it's survival mode, nothing matters apart from survival. So you find that you've neglected even your farm, you've neglected your crops, you've neglected your animals, you've neglected your business, you've just neglected it because you're already at that state of survival mode. Please do not forget that the moment you recognize that you're burning out, it is good again to pause and ask yourself, what is it that is making me get closer and closer to burnout? Is it that I'm not delegating? Is it that I'm taking everything on myself? Is it that I'm not able to prioritize in the best way? Is it that I've not been able to distinguish what is of priority, what is urgent, what is important, what can wait, so that at least I'm able to plan myself in a way that I can be able to manage? I've seen in African culture many times, people glorify exhaustion. So the moment someone is so exhausted, you glorify that. You say, now this is hard work. That's why I feel so exhausted. That when I get to the house and I sit on the couch, I just pass out because I'm so exhausted. So you glorify that. In our culture, still, many people condemn rest and sleep. They say that when you are resting or when you are sleeping, you are lazy. But that is not necessarily true. When you've been working in a planned way, you've been able to achieve your objectives for today, going to sleep is okay because you are resting, you are recharging so that you can get ready for tomorrow. So, my brothers and sisters listening to me today, do you remember of an instance when you felt that you cannot be able to handle anything anymore? What you are feeling from deep within is more than being tired, it is burnout. Have you ever found yourself getting very close to burning out? That nothing seemed to care to you. You just felt, I need to be away, I need to rest, because if I don't do this, I'm breaking down in the next minute. When you get to realize that for sure what you are feeling deep within is more than being tired. What you're feeling deep within is a load that is too much for you, and you're not able to handle it by yourself. And you feel like I'm almost surrendering, I'm almost giving up, I'm almost running away from this. Pause and ask yourself, could this be burnout manifesting itself? Has this burnout been whispering to me emotionally? I ignored. Has this burnout been whispering to me physically? I ignored. Has this burnout been whispering to me mentally and cognitively? I ignored. Has this burnout been whispering to me through my behaviors? And I ignored. And now burnout is screaming out so that I can pay attention, I can pause for a moment, I can take a break, then I can be able to restructure. Please note, when you realize it's burnout, you take a break for 1 day or for 2 days or for 1 week, then you go back to the same way that you operated there before. Again, burnout will come again. But when you realize it is burnout and you take a break for a day or for a week and you restructure, noting what was causing burnout to you, then you are likely to prevent that burnout from coming back another time. Remember, if this burnout is there and you are so much drained, you might now find yourself needing a lot of resilience so that you can now be able to rebuild the energy that is almost getting depleted. So when it comes to burnout, Simon from Tanzania, I hope you are there. Mr. Kemadi, is Simon there?
Irene, Simon, Irene, yes, she's there.
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, Irene, do you relate with burnout, either yourself or have you observed some of the people you are in agripreneurship with having this burnout? Maybe in a minute.
Yes, I can relate. Okay, my name is Irene Simon Ivambi. I am the founder of Remember Naturals. We are producing cosmetics and organic ingredients that are used in cosmetics, and we are sourcing from more than 2,000 women farmers here in Tanzania to produce different cosmetic raw materials like cocoa butter, spice oils and essential oils.
Mhm.
So burnout is really discussed openly, especially if you're a woman, and I'm a woman, and I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm a mother of three. So burnout is more than being tired, and I've been experiencing myself. It's a state of mental, emotional, and physical exhaustion.
Yes.
That comes from prolonged stress and responsibility, and it has really happening to me. And sometimes when you wake up in the morning, you feel so tired, even if you have slept maybe the whole night.
Correct.
You can hear me?
Yes, correct.
And you're feeling even you wake up and you feel drained,
Yes.
and you no longer enjoy the things that you do. It
Yes.
really happened to me. So
Yes.
I just wanted to share my story. Last year, we were in
Yes.
a program, Generation Africa, with AGRA.
Yes.
I was lucky to be one among of the fellows, and
Yes.
they gave me a coach because I was
Yes.
doing everything alone. I
Yes.
had a small baby. Then I
Oh,
had to manage production to make sure
yes.
everything is of high quality when produced.
Yes.
Also, I had to manage sales and marketing. I had to manage finance. Sometimes I have to deliver and go to speak with my customers. So my coach, when I spoke with my coach last year during the program,
Yes.
um, so she realized that I was totally burnt out. Sometimes I was not even appearing in the sessions because I had a
Yes.
lot in my plate.
Yes.
And so she started training me how to do about it. So we started making systems. So from home, we had systems. Like the way that we are raised, like a woman, you have to take care of your baby by yourself from morning to evening. At the same time, I
Yeah.
told you I have a business to take care. So she told me, like, you can find someone that can take care of your baby, meaning for baby for a few hours. Okay.
Yes.
Then also you have to delegate
Yes.
things at your office and make sure you trust them, because sometimes entrepreneurs they don't trust people to do things on their behalf. So
Yes.
I try to find people who have related skills, let's say in marketing, in production, in finance. Then I delegate. I can say I was just overseeing what is happening and just give me report and things of the like. So after I realized that I have a burnout, really, she told me, like, you can just pause. Yeah. So make sure you pause a lot. Maybe in a week, you can find even a day to just relax as an entrepreneur. Then the next
Yes.
day, you'll find yourself that you feel happy again, you feel good, you're not exhausted. And also, she told me, like, delegate and give people control. Like, you don't have to control everything by yourself. And another thing, like, she told me, like, you can reconnect yourself. Like, I love playing tennis, I love singing, but it reached a moment I was no longer happy when I sing or going to the tennis. And sometimes I'm just tired, So slowly I came back to the things that I love. And I started playing tennis, I started singing, and also I love traveling. So I also try to travel a lot. And now my business is going, and I feel like yes, it happens. You can get burnout, but it is not as it used to be.
Yes.
Now I can just leave the business even the whole month. I'm not there, and the business can just go on. And also I trust people now. I get delegates more, and people they
Yes.
give me that because I've shown them that I trust them. So yeah, so that's how I can say my story. And I also
Thank you.
thank Agra, because the
Mm,
coach that they connected me was really good, and she understood me. Because sometimes she was setting the meetings, and I was not appearing. Oh, so then she realized, oh, what is the problem? Then she realized
mm,
that was my problem. Then
mm.
she told me like, oh, okay, now let's create systems. Let's create
Yes,
structures in your business.
correct.
Even if you're
Mm,
not there, business will just go on. Even if
correct.
you relax at home, so you get time for yourself, for your family. And sometimes
Yes.
you don't have to feel bad as a mother. Like
Mm,
you sleep and someone can take care of your family or can take care of your children. So
correct.
we
Mm,
were as I'm finishing, so
mm,
we were raised to feel bad when
mm,
when someone takes care of your family. But well, someone like
mm.
you have to work, as you have said, you have to
Yes.
work, and you feel proud, or we find glory when we are tired. So
Yes.
coach told me like, no, you have to rest. Resting is important, and your mental health is important. When you have a physically fit mentally, you
Mm,
can be able to even lead your people well, and you can
mm,
be able to even grow your business well.
mm.
So yeah, thank you so much.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much for sharing your personal experience with burnout. Burnout is real, and at times we might think that someone is weak, someone is lazy, someone is ungrateful. But the truth of the matter is that the person could be going through exhaustion or burnout that they have not been able to explain. So remember that you do not have to do everything by yourself. You can delegate, you can create structures, you can have systems that can be able to run with your supervision. Don't fear that people are going to steal from you, because you've got a system that you know whatever is paid, whatever is coming in, whatever is going out. And remember, above it all, that battery that you have that is fully charged, do not exhaust the energy in it without recharging it. Because if you do that, then you might get yourself to be completely drained. And now, if in life you find that you are so much drained, and you have been in a cycle of being drained, maybe after another month, again, you are so drained in life, you feel you are so empty, you are so dry, let us talk about resilience. And resilience is something that is very important in our lives, in every aspect of our life. And when you talk about resilience, this is the inner strength to be able to recover, to be able to adapt, and to be able to keep on moving forward, even when there are adversity, there is stress, and there is frustration. So you are keeping moving forward, even through all this. When you talk about resilience, let me give a metaphor for it as well. Think of a farm that is in a place with weather that is not predictable. So when there is rains, this farm is doing well. But when there are no rains, there is drought, the crops in this farm might die. So what this wise farmer has done, they have been able to build the reservoirs for water so that when there is no rain, they can be able to irrigate. Now this reservoir that is holding this rainwater during the rainy season is able to take this farm even through the dry season. So when you talk about resilience, resilience is like this farm that is well irrigated even during times of drought. So in our lives, the same can apply. That when we are having very good times, we don't have a problem emotionally. We are not drained at all. But when those storms of life are coming, when those tides of life come, because as a matter of fact, life is not as the way we plan it perfectly. You know, some changes will occur and you have to adapt. So Are you having something that you can tap into in yourself to be able to bring you back on stage? Remember, when we are going through life and we are encountering challenges, and challenges will be there. Maybe they won't be there every day, but challenges will keep on coming. When these challenges do come to us, and they are opening their eyes wide, looking at us, staring at us, scaring us, many people get to that point of giving up. Many people get to that point of saying, oh, I'll not try again. I think I've tried enough, I've failed enough, and now I resign to fate. And that is a wrong decision to make. Why? Because when we are encountering these challenges in life, these obstacles in life, these setbacks in life, and they could be in the form of challenges. They could be financial pressure. They could be conflict in relationship because young people here are even married. They could be conflict in those relationships. They could be rejection, that we are going through rejection. It could be loss, even loss of a business. Yeah. It could be any kind of weight that could be coming to you and almost threatening the survival of your agriculture, your business. Yeah. It could even be an illness, very tough and very serious. But now, what do we do when these challenges are here with us? When these obstacles are here with us? They are staring at us like this, and we are feeling so much terrorized by this. It is the moment now to tap into our resilience. It is the moment to say, okay, I was planning for this. This was my plan for the whole year, but I have had some changes have been announced by the revenue authority in our country. The market I was thinking about, there are some changes that have taken place there. The school I thought I would be supplying milk to them, there are some changes. Now they want another person to supply, or they have gotten their own cows. Yeah. This value chain that I'm in, making yogurt from milk so that I can add value to this, I can be able to fetch more from the market. Now, the regulation is like this. So there are changes. So what do you do when there are changes? Understand the changes that have occurred because they are going to make you now adjust your plan. Remember, you cannot be able to adjust your plan for the year without understanding the changes that are making you do the adjustment. Again, remember, you could be having a team of people, very supportive people with you, and for whatever reasons, that team maybe goes away. Maybe they got greener pastures, or for whatever reasons, they can no longer work for you. And you knew this was the best team that I was having. Some people may refuse to employ some new people to sit in those positions, and they want to do it or to shut down. But now, this means someone is not resilient. Because yes, you could be having a very good farm manager, but for whatever reasons, provided you've not done something wrong to them, maybe they got greener pasture, so they left. So now it is for you to try and find another farm manager. You come, you orient them on what happens in your farm, what you need in your farm. Then you let them now use their skills and their training, even in school and experience, to come and sit in that position without you having to so much micromanage. But if a manager goes and you feel like they've been taken by your competitor and now you want to shut down your farm that was doing very well, then it means in terms of resilience, you're not doing very well. Again, remember, there could be financial challenges that are there. You expected a loan from a financial institution, and maybe regulations did change, and they cannot be able to offer you the kind of loan that you wanted. Maybe you wanted an X amount of money. Maybe they can only be able to offer you half of that. And now, if you're not careful, you might be angry in the bank and even tear the papers and tell them, stay even with that 50%, I don't want it. Now that means your expectation that you had was not met. And therefore you got frustrated. And you can see now what you wanted to get, you might not be able to get it. And you've given up and you shut that door and you're out. Now that means resilience needs you to focus on it at this particular moment. So what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that when we encounter challenges in our agripreneurship, let it not be a reason for you to give up. Let it not be a reason for you to quit at that particular time. Instead, pause for a moment. Accept that, yes, this has struck me. I had a plan like this. These were my objectives. These were my goals for this year. But I have to admit and accept I cannot be able to achieve this or to go about this the way I had planned. So you're getting to realize that, accept that, so that now you can start recovering from that shock. And now, next, you ask yourself, what adjustments do I need to make? You make the adjustments, please. You might even have to downscale. Maybe for 1 year, then you'll be able to upscale for the next year. And 1 year is not a long time if you look at it like that. Then you start moving again. Don't just make adjustment and just sit there at home, or just sit there, pity party, looking for someone you can emotionally dump onto without looking in for any solution. You just be there because time is passing. So after you've been able to make the adjustments, now you can keep on moving forward. And remember, you are moving forward even when the challenge is still there, because you had a bigger plan for this year, but you had to downscale it because you couldn't get the finances that you wanted. So you have to downscale it. And maybe what you needed to do in 1 year, you have now to do it in 1 year and a half. And it is still okay because you are moving forward. Not at the speed you expected at the very beginning, but you are still moving forward and you'll be able to catch up with time. There are some things that affect our resilience as young people, and I would love to mention just a few. Number one is negative thinking. When we encounter difficulties or challenges in our agripreneurship, we might find ourselves falling into the trap of thinking about the worst case scenario. Yeah, saying that for sure, I'm a failure. Even my grandfather was a failure. My father was a failure. I'm now a failure. How comes I could take this amount of money from the bank and I cannot be able to make profit? I'm unable even to pay that loan that I had taken. What I'm going to do, I'm going to squander even the little that is remaining. Now, that is negative thinking. And this negative of thinking, when you see yourself as a failure and you nickname yourself failure so and so, your mind will conform to that because your mind takes commands from you. So your mind will start scanning for evidence of other times you failed and make you for sure become a failure because that is what you're feeding your mind with. So we need to be careful with negative thinking because this negative thinking will make us get stuck and not build resilience at all. Another thing that affects our resilience is excessive comparison. You see, with these digital times, we do not only compare ourselves with our neighbors, the people in our village or in our locality or in our areas of business. You cannot be able to compare yourself with everyone in the world. And remember, most of what people post online, it is not true. It is not factual. It is a lie. Some of them are posting just a lie. And now you can see this was my classmates. See, they are doing so well. They've bought a big car. They've bought a big house. They have a big farm. They have a big business. And you look at yourself and you ask yourself, what is wrong with me? How comes all my classmates are doing so well? And now, in the poultry farm that you had with 5,000 chicken, you feel like it is nothing. And it is a lot, but you see it like it's nothing because you're negatively comparing yourself online with other people who are showing like they have it all. So please be careful with negative comparison because it affects our resilience in a very big way. Another thing that will affect our resilience is unresolved past traumas. You see, if we are carrying so many wounds from the past and we are not doing anything to help heal these particular wounds, we are already injured. And we have a lower capacity to be able to build resilience because you're having so many wounds, emotional wounds. You can think of a person who wants to run, but they have an injury on their leg. They can't be able to run because of the injury. And not unless they treat that injury, that wound starts to heal, that's the only moment they will be able to start practicing to walk and to run again. So when we are carrying so many emotional wounds from the past, that in a very big way will ensure that we are not able to build the resilience, the same resilience that we want. So past traumas in a very big way affects our resilience. Lastly, chronic stress. When we are so much stressed and we are not addressing that stress, and it is chronic stress I'm talking about. Remember, optimum stress, that stress on a short term is good, because that stress on a short term, it makes you realize, oh, if I mess with this loan that I took, the auctioneers will be on me. So I have to work harder. I have to look for more market so that I can be able to repay and make some profit. That is short-term stress. That is okay. But now when it becomes to chronic stress, this is stress that you've been having for months. You've not addressed it. So you are stressed by something, you don't address it. You leave it unresolved. Another stressor comes, you don't address it, unresolved. So you have accumulation of stress for a long period of time that drains you completely to the point that you don't have any more energy to be able to rebuild resilience. So whenever you find yourself that you're in this state of being so stressed, chronically stressed, it is good to pinpoint what your stressors are, and maybe the help of your therapist, try to address those particular stressors or causes of stress that you could be having. In conclusion, when talking about resilience, it is good that we try as much as possible to have a high level of emotional awareness. Please know how you are doing emotionally, so that if you're emotionally getting drained, you can be able to pick it quite early, and you can be able to address that draining before it makes you get to a point when you want to give up. When you're emotionally aware, that's the big advantage. Number two, having support system that is healthy. You see, when we interact with the people who are supporting us, encouraging us, guiding us, these people ruminates our life. They bring that light in our life of being resilient. But if I'm gathering around people who are discouraging me every other time, these people are going to drain me, and these people will not encourage or motivate me to be resilient in any way. So the people that we are keeping as our friends, the support system that we are having, is also very important in helping us to be able to rebuild our resilience whenever we are feeling drained. Number three is optimism. You see, even in the midst of uncertainty, you are still having that hope that I might not be having the solution to this one by myself now, but I can seek for help from another person, and this help will help me to be able to navigate out of this particular situation. And when I'm talking about optimism, I do not mean by any chance ignoring the reality, but I mean holding or choosing hope even in the face of despair. So instead of choosing despair, you're choosing hope. So you can see that you are down there. You can see that you've been mark timing here. You've stagnated here. And instead of giving up, you're saying, oh, I'll be positive about this because I might not be having the solution, but I will make a step tomorrow or next week to see a person who can be able to mentor, coach, or guide me out of this challenge that I could be having at this particular moment. Remember, this optimism is something that we need because it will help us to get out of bed tomorrow. It will help us to go to that farm that was so much flooded until crops were destroyed. It will help you to go back to look for other people to buy your products. It will give you the opportunity and even a thought of wanting to diversify, that instead of supplying to one person, you supply like to 5 or 6 people, so that if one person fails you, you still have 5 people that you will supply to. You are diversifying so that you can be able to be on float even when things are very difficult. So remember, when you talk about resilience, think about that farm. That farm that is doing so well when it is the rainy season, but you still have more water to irrigate the farm when it gets to the dry season. So the dry season will not affect your crops because your crops will keep on growing stronger, more healthy, and you will get your produce in the expected time. Each one of us requires this resilience so that we do not give up at any point in our lives. Challenges are there, storms are there, rough moments will be there, uncertainties will be there, but resilience will keep us moving even when it is the most difficult of times. So in summary, remember, we've touched on emotional dumping, and we give the metaphor of a truck loaded, offloading on a pickup. It could be you dumping on another person or other people dumping on you. That awareness will help you to navigate in a healthy way through those emotions and keep emotional dumping away. Number two, we've spoken about burnout, and we had the metaphor of a battery, a big, beautiful battery that is fully charged. You keep on using the energy in the battery without charging it, that battery will become drained and it will be of no use without any energy. So remember to keep on charging this battery as much as possible so that you can continue enjoying the energy in it. Remember, in burnout, we said it is more than being tired. And again, delegating and having systems and structures to help you will be very important. Because even when you pinpoint that you're having burnout today and you decide to take a 1 week break, then the week that follows, you go back to the same life, doing the same thing. Burnout will again catch up with you. But if you pinpoint, this has been causing burnout to me, you restructure, you reorganize yourself, that will ensure burnout will not catch up with you any other time. Then number three, resilience, that inner strength of being able to recover, to adapt, and to move forward, even in the face of distress, disappointment, is also very important. Resilience is very important, so that when you feel low and you feel you are down, you can be able to tap into that inner strength. You can be able to reach out to someone who will help to boost you up a bit, because you only need some motivation to keep moving. When you are going to the point of stopping, you just need a little boost for you to keep on moving. Then you start seeing results again, and you're able to rebuild your resilience to a high level. Remember, we are human beings, we are young people, we are in a journey, and it's a journey that is not for the faint-hearted. So even when we encounter these three challenges, we shouldn't give up. We should keep on keeping on and hoping for the very best. So up to that point, I would like also to pause a bit, and Mr. Kimathi.
Thank you very much, Coach Robert.
Thank you.
I know. I mean, you've given us quite a lot, and it's quite a bit to download.
Yes.
So one of the things that we'd want to do is to probably shake this conversation a bit and allow us to hear the voices of the youth, the people in the conversation. There are a few questions that have already been raised in the comments, and for those of you who do not know, you can actually raise comments or questions in the comment section. That is number one. And number two, for those amongst us who are French or Portuguese speakers, there is simultaneous translation currently ongoing until 4 p.m. or until the next 45 minutes. So you have an option to select those as options to listen into. But please allow me, Kanto, with your permission, if you can open up a bit so we entertain about 3 or 4 comments first and questions. And I think, I don't know if Elizabeth, you're in the room, Elizabeth Gakinya, I think there are a few questions that you've raised as a guillotine. I would want to see if you can raise all those questions in one session so that we can move on to something else. And for process, Coach Robert, I would want to handle about 3 questions at one go, as opposed to responding to every single one of them, so to manage the time better. I don't know, Elizabeth, are you in the call? Or would you prefer I read your questions? All right, let me read the first set of questions. She has a couple of questions. So as a business owner managing multiple responsibilities, how can I support my employees' mental well-being, especially when they are new and handling multiple deliverables without being intrusive, while ensuring they remain motivated and positive at work? At the same time, how can I protect myself and my business from potential manipulation or overdependence? That's the first question. I think we've also received probably just other people posting comments.
Your microphone, sir.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, I got the first question right. The second one?
Oh, sorry. The first one was from Elizabeth, was about how, as a business owner, managing multiple responsibilities, how can I support my employees' mental well-being, especially when they are new and handling multiple deliverables without being intrusive, while ensuring they remain motivated and positive at work. That's the first set. So basically more about how do you manage your employees' mental well-being.
Thank you.
Secondly, again, I think at the same time, how to protect myself and my business from potential manipulation or overdependence. But you're basically asking around, we have a situation where you have to ensure that your employees' mental well-being is well protected, but also at the same time, you're able to safeguard yourself against manipulation or overdependence by the employees. I think that's a question that I've seen, I think Dr. Judith Mariana's story as well, probably agrees with. So the second one is there's another second set of questions, sorry, not just a question. I think Joyce Nganga mentions that there's an organization called Serena Mind Network, and we have a project called Wellness on the Shamba, Mental Wellness for Farmers, and this webinar today will help and empower me with skills. I think Celestina Langa, I think this is just a comment for your consumption. Hello, everyone. My name is Celestina Langa from Mozambique. Thank you for the opportunity to be part of this webinar. Mental health is fundamental for entrepreneurship, from entrepreneurs, especially for youth and agripreneurs. Strong minds build stronger farms, and taking care of our mental fitness is key to resilience, productivity.
Sorry, Kimati.
long-term
Sorry,
success.
Kimati. Hi, Kimati, to cut you. If you can slow down on pace, our translator need to follow. Thank you.
All right, sorry about that. As entrepreneurs, I hope this would be easy. As entrepreneurs, we often feel the need to do everything ourselves. We carry the responsibility and sometimes the fear of failure alone. I think that's just a comment she was making. I think another set of questions from Elizabeth. I think she was also still making a comment. I can relate to what I think Irene is mentioning up there. Let's see what are the questions. Good. There's a question here. After experiencing, and this is again from Elizabeth, after experiencing a significant setback or prolonged strain, how can I regain stability and rebuild momentum without overcompensating or burning out? And I think the second part is, what practical steps help me find balance again while still moving forward and gaining that confidence again? So after experiencing significant setback, how can I regain stability and rebuild momentum? I have a couple of other questions. Of myself. So one of the things that we know for a fact, and I'm sorry, my internet is not very stable, but one of the things we know for a fact is that there are many youth who fear failure because of social and family pressure. How can we reframe failure in business, in agribusiness, so it becomes a learning step rather than a permanent label? Secondly, what kind of support systems, whether we're talking about these support systems being from peers, mentors, professionals, should young agripreneurs intentionally build around themselves? And how can they really start this? Thirdly, I'm sorry, this is like an omnibus of questions. For a young agripreneur who feels alone or ashamed to talk about mental strain, what would be your first piece of advice? I think if you can handle those questions, and please, Irene and Charles, please also feel free to chime in whenever you feel the need to, and share your personal experiences as well.
Okay, so maybe I can handle that in 2 minutes. Then I give Charles and Irene a chance to share their own experiences. Starting with the last one, it is common for people to feel ashamed to talk about the emotional or mental health. It's something that has been common. But in this meeting and many other meetings, please, the same way that you might have a headache or a toothache, and you are free and you don't feel any shame when you're talking about it, even when you feel emotionally drained, you are burning out, when you feel like your resilience has gone down, when you feel like people are dumping on you or you are emotionally dumping on other people, don't shy from calling it by its name. Clearly say that I'm burning out and I wish to take a 1 week break as I restructure. It's very okay. When you're feeling disappointed because your business has not done well like the you had planned, it's okay to say that I feel disappointed. I was not able to achieve all the goals that I had for my business this year, but I have my lessons. It is my lessons that will help me next year to make the necessary adjustments. When you're feeling as a mother that you are burning out because you have family responsibilities here, you have children, and you have your farm or your business to take care of, don't feel shy to say that I'm almost at a breaking point. I need to get a house manager to help me with the children. Then maybe I'll be able now to do homework with them in the evening, catch up with them in the evening, and be with them over the weekend. Otherwise, it will be so difficult for you to be in the farm. You have a child, you have other children who are coming from school, and you have a husband who expects you to make the house, cook the food, and do everything. As a one person, you cannot be able to do that. You will be overstretching yourself. And before you know it, you might get yourself into that point of burning out. And if this burnout continues, burnout is not a good thing. If it is there and it continues, it can easily now push you towards depression, which you wouldn't want. So when you pause for a minute and you say, no, I cannot be able to handle all this by myself. I need to delegate this task here. I need to delegate task B there. So you must be very specific on what do you want to delegate, because you have been able to pinpoint on what is bringing that burnout to you. If you continue overstretching, you'll break down. And breaking down is not funny. It is something that will affect you so significantly, so badly, and even affect your family, and even affect the business or the farm that is so dear to you. So by getting to the point of pausing and say, this is how I feel, this is the emotion that has been putting me down, it is okay. Talk to that with the people who are close to you. Reach out to your coach, reach out to your therapist, so that they can help you to process exactly the emotions that you're having, and give you options of possible ways or solutions to be able to help you address exactly what is weighing you down. Please remember, feeling down emotionally, feeling overloaded, it is not a crime. Speak it out. Do not suffer in silence. Do not suppress your suffering alone. No, speak about it with people who you know they care, and people who can help you to be able to pinpoint a solution that will lead you towards the direction that you desire. Number two, someone who could be fearing to delegate. And this fear of delegating could be from past lessons. Maybe they were frustrated by people, or it could be their own experiences. They had someone who didn't do as they expected. Now, when you get to learn of this, now you change the structure and the system. Where did you lose? Where were you shortchanged? So that when you're able to pinpoint exactly the specific area you are having that fear, then address that particular area. Is it in finances? Is it in the transport, the drivers that you had? Is it in the market where you are selling? Is it where you are getting your seedlings, where you are getting what you needed as input for your farm? In what particular area are you having the fear of delegating? Why are you having the fear? Make the necessary adjustment for you to fill that particular gap, bringing fear to you. So when you delegate to the next person, at least you have a guarantee. I was able to fill the gap where I was shortchanged. Then again, when someone is feeling that burnout for an extended period of time, and they go back and the same burnout come again. That is happening simply because, yes, you discovered you had burnout, so you took a break. But now after taking the break, you came back into the old way that you operated. And now the burnout that caught you back then will catch you again this time because you have not made any adjustment to protect yourself from the burnout that had caught up with you that other time. On that other last part of when you have new employees and you want to be careful not to overload them, have job description for each employee that you're having. So you know employee 1 does ABCD. Employee 2 does ABCD. Employee 3 does this and that and that. So every employee has a clear job description. Not that today they are doing this, tomorrow they do the work for the other person. No, that will bring a lot of confusion, a lot of conflict, and productivity will go down because there isn't a consistency of the work that should be done by whom. Let it be very clear, person A does this, person B does this, person C does this. So if person C is absent today, maybe person A and 2 can come and do what person C should have done. But it is very clear, every employee does what. And when you employ them in the beginning, ensure that you invest in orientation. Because if you think maybe orientation will be expensive, not giving orientation to a new employee will cost you more in the long term. It might be 2 days of orientation, and these 2 days will help you to save you a whole month or 2 months that year. Because now your new employees knows what is expected of them, what is found where, what should be done when they should report, when work ends, what is expected of each one of them. That way, you will save yourself a lot. So orientation will also be important. Remember, you have a clear job description for each employee. Then you've invested on their orientation. Then thirdly, you invest on their mental well-being by ensuring that you do not put pressure on them. You do not emotionally dump on them. Yeah. When you have a frustration elsewhere, solve or deal with it there. Don't bring it on to these particular employees. Give them a chance to express themselves. You can even allow them to write to you in those secret ballots to just let you know what is happening if someone could fear to say that verbally to you. Give them the opportunity to be able to write that to you. But ensure you don't fall into the trap of emotional dumping happening from your employees. Again, for yourself, ensure that you are checking in with yourself every evening. So you are taking a few minutes, maybe 15 minutes every evening to look at the day, how the day was, and how you did emotionally. At the end of the week, again, maybe on a Saturday or a Friday, depending on your end of the week, look back and see how the week has been and emotionally how you've performed that particular week. Then plan for the week that will be coming next. So simply, when there are structures, when the job description is there, when you have done orientation, when you've given your employees an opportunity to be able to express what they are feeling and what they are going through and their thoughts, and again, when you are checking in with yourself every day and once every week, and you plan for the next week, you will have been able to solve quite a lot. So I think, Kanto, with your permission, maybe we can bring in Charles and Irene.
So,
All right.
Irene, I don't know if you have anything to add to what Coach Robert has said, or even Charles.
Yes, I think I'll go first. So yeah, I've been going through like the questions, and I think for me the best way to respond will be with my own personal experience. And I'll start with the setback So what do you do when you had a significant setback or strain to your business? And I think number one is to acknowledge like that. Oh, sorry, I hadn't turned my camera around. Yeah. So number one is to acknowledge that like that really hurts. And it hurts not only you, not only your business, but also your personal morale, your fire, or the inspiration that kept you going. So for me, what I've come to do, and I'll talk about it in terms of opportunities, be it business opportunities, partnerships, or funding. Uh, there was this one time where we thought we had everything checked out. It was a great opportunity. It was sometime in 2025, 2020, late 2024, early 2025. So Q4 of 2024 to Q1 of 2025. And we thought we had it. We went through the opportunity, looked at the eligibility criteria. We knew what you were doing at Rethread or what we seemed to be doing at the time. And we prepared this beautiful proposal. So we go ahead and we send it. And during this process, there's that back and forth. Could you clarify this? Send us more document on this, and all those things are going on. So we were almost sure we are gonna get it. And then, long story short, comes due diligence, and they take a while before responding to us. And when they're taking a while, that time I was, can I call it overly optimistic? You know, at that point in time where as the founder of the business, or the visionary behind the business, you can't seem to think that somebody else, and in this case, let me use Robert because I'm seeing Robert on my screen, that an hypothetical Robert sitting somewhere in his office who's a fund manager would look at your proposal and be like, this is not good enough. Like you can't just bring yourself to thinking about that. And then on a beautiful Monday morning, you receive an email. The thank you for applying email. We all know it, right? We had a lot of proposals, and that gets you because you had put so much energy and effort into this particular program. So that's a setback. I think for me, what I've learned to do is number one, this associate whatever you're working on with that particular setback. I mean, like a setback would come in whichever form it chooses to come, but then you should. Somebody told me something a while back that I'll bring that to this conversation to create some relevance. He's Dr. Debisi Adebayo, the current CEO, I think, of Academia 2063. At some point, he was the MD for Agra, way back in, I think, 2006, 2007. And Dr. Debisi told me, for you to win any program or any competition that has levels, right? You start with your own country chapter and then probably the regional chapter, and then there's a global stage before you go to the finals. He said you need all those judging panels need to have at least one person who extremely agrees with whatever you are saying. And that's everything from agreeing with the problem you are solving, agreeing with the approach that you guys are using to solve that problem, agreeing with the team that you guys have put together to solve this particular problem. Now, that needs to happen over several periods of time before somebody gets to say, you know what, I believe in you guys enough to give you money or give you a platform. And that's just one in a million chances of that happening. So luck does play a role. So when you detach yourself from that, then it gives you a starting point. The second thing would be to focus on the small wins. Sometimes we think of our businesses as we think of them at scale, and that's very good in terms of planning or talking about the vision. But the practicality of that is what is your where is your business now and what are you doing now, right? And that helps you so much in terms of like just focusing on what is important. Sometimes that setback comes in, and the setback is, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. A setback gets us. Even for me at this point where I'm still trying to figure things out, I can talk about this thing here, and then after this call, I receive an email, and then I'm down for 2-3 hours. But then you have to like think about the fact that if you don't wake up tomorrow morning to like keep doing what you're doing, then there won't be a business to build at the end of the day, right? So that's also very important. It's focusing on the small wins. Is there a client that you're supposed to close that is a low hanging fruit, for example? So that also gets me. So I think those two are a very practical approach to setbacks. I saw a question on team. Sorry, and I'll come back again. So team, I've had to like take off my hat. So team, I think when we were setting up Rethread, for us, again, we were a group of people in college at the University of Nairobi at the time. And we wanted to build, we were very ambitious. We wanted to build a company that we wanted to work for. There are these things you see how companies treat their employees, and you're like, that's not right. So you want to build like a better company. And when we set out to do it, that meant a couple of things from a strategic point of view. That means you always had. So my role at Rethread has always been to fundraise. So ideally, that's a very fancy word of saying my job is ensuring we have enough money for the lights not to go off. So that means if you need to build a company that you wish to work for, there's a certain salary that people would want to be paid. So for me, that means I have to ensure the company has that money to pay those salaries. And in 2025, again, last year, we hit a very pivotal moment because we hit the moment when we realized whatever we were building and the commercial viability of what we were working on was not as glossy as we thought about it. You see, on pitch decks, on business plans, you'd sit back and write your financial projections, and then in very small font, you write your assumptions that support those projections. But when you actually go to the ground, in Kenya, there's a very famous phrase that people say, on the ground, things are different. So when you go to the ground and you're suddenly hit the ground running and you're talking to like clients, because at that point in time, for those of you who may not know of Rethread, we were doing bioplastics. So we wanted to replace polyester, particularly in the fashion industry. Our agri-scope lens or our agri-food system lens came in the fact that we used to use agricultural waste, so sugarcane bagasse, to make these bioplastics in the lab using bioreactors. So you sit down with fashion businesses because ideally those were our clients at the time, and the person in charge of sustainability at the fashion brand, they'd be so moved with your story and like they'll welcome you and you'll have the first meeting, the second meeting, and then they hand you over to the person in charge of R&D, so product development, and you'd run pilots and send samples and they test, and then once you're done with that, then you're handed over to the person in charge of procurement. And the guy in charge of procurement, they don't care about your flashy story. For them, it's is it is it cheaper than what I'm buying right now? Okay, it's not. Okay. If it's not cheaper, then can I sell it for more to the end consumer for me to recoup this cost? Because for them, their KPI has always been numbers. It needs to make financial sense. And then for us, we realized it can't make financial sense. For context, a kilogram of our product, it was costing us about $38 at the time. That's 4,500 Kenya shillings to make a kilogram of our material. And what we wanted to replace in the market, which was polyester, was being sold for about $1 because polyester is sold for about 120 to 145 Kenya shillings per kilogram. So if you do the math, you realize we are starting this game not from 10-0, but just to give context as Coach Robert likes, you can think of it as we were a Senegal to an African Cup of Nations that was being hosted in Morocco. So there was no way we could win that much. So we had to like rethink the strategy, and it was a very hard time in terms of the team. That meant we had to like cut our team lean. At the height of Rethread, Rethread employed about 12 people full time. But then when you're not able to get revenue to support that team, you have to come back to reality. Where is the business at? How many roles can the business support? Because again, as founders, there's a very interesting thing you need to think about. You owe your business exists as an entity. If it's registered in many of our countries or jurisdictions, the business can appear in court as its own persona, right? So what that means from you as you're thinking about it is you don't need to have so much stress as to, oh, I don't have enough employees or I need to hire enough more people. If the business can't support hiring more people, then you simply can't afford to hire more people. If the numbers can't support it, and I think that's a very healthy way of thinking about it, because at some point we usually overstate the capacity of our businesses or the capacity of our projects and ventures. And being grounded in what is true and what is real and what's actually happening on the ground really helps you avoid much of these pressures earlier on. The last case in point to close this is when we were registering our business, we didn't consult enough. And I think that's why the likes of business coaches and personal coaches exist, like Coach Robert. And also that's why organizations like Agra go out of their way to create, I'd call it communities for entrepreneurs to just share. And my learning from this was when you set out to build a business, at the point, there's somebody who works for the Kenyan government who told me this last year. She told me the government needs to provide services to its citizens, and the way the government is funded is through taxes. So people need to pay taxes. And that's very good. But also, it's very true to realize there exist different cadres of, I'd call it paying taxes. If you go to government today, you tell government, I'll assume, I'll use Kimathi with your permission. Let's assume Kimathi is the taxman or the director general of the tax authority in whichever country you are in. So you go to Kimathi and you tell Kimathi, I have a business, and this business, this is the idea we have, this is what we are doing. And you sell this vision to Kimathi of a business that can do, let's say, $1 million in a month in revenues. Kimathi won't come back and start fine picking your business to tell you, you know what, you don't fit in the $1 million per month bracket. You fit in the, let's say, $10,000 per month bracket, right? Because that's not his business. That's not his role. So that's what we did in the first. We went and we sold this big vision, and apparently we registered for things we shouldn't have registered for. So and the Kenyan government is very efficient in this sense. When you're going to register a business today, and you go to eCitizen and you register and you fill in all the details, the first email you get from the government is the email from the taxman, from KRA, telling you about, congratulations on your new business. This is your tax identification number. These are your tax obligations. And then after that, then you get the email from the business registration service. So I think being very grounded, even as you are trying to register your business or get licenses and permits, helps you a lot in avoiding this, let me call them stresses that then would lead you into having emotional downfalls, having burnouts, and all these other things. So it's if I was to sum up everything I've said, number one is be true to the size of your business. Don't lie to your business about its size. That helps you in terms of working out the team structure, the team size. Number two, in terms of setbacks, focus on small wins. And small wins could be something as simple as you had a goal of hitting, let's say, 10 engagements or 10 interactions on Twitter. For those of us who are old enough, I still call it Twitter. We're not calling it X anytime soon. So if that's a small win you want to achieve, then go for it, and they'll help you a lot. So yeah, I think that's it from my side. I'll stop at that point and hand
All right.
it back over to you guys.
All right. Thank you very, very much. There's a question we need to tackle. And please allow me to request Irene Simon to just be ready for this question. I think the question comes from someone from Mozambique in Portuguese. I don't know whether we want to ask the lady Celestina to ask the question, and then or you want to read out the question in English. The question is really about, in your experience, what is the biggest shift in mindset that entrepreneurs need to make in order to move from working alone to building strong, capable teams? I don't know whether, Irene, you want to just share your thoughts and then your closing statements. We are really running out of time, and we have about 10 minutes or thereabouts before we close the session. Irene Simon,
Yes,
if you can.
thank you so much. You're breaking. I don't know if it's my network.
So the question is, in your experience, what is the biggest shift in mindset that entrepreneurs need to make in order to move from working alone to building strong, capable teams?
Okay, so according to my experience, because I used to control things a lot, like to micromanage, and I can say one thing that we have to do is to learn to delegate things to people. We can even start with one person or two people if you're according to the size of your business. Then later, if your business is growing, then you can increase people. So you don't micromanage things, because when you start micromanaging things, that's how you disturb your mental health. And to add on that, let your business is not you, it's your business. Okay, so we have, as entrepreneurs, we have to learn to let things be, especially when they're beyond our control, so that we can be able to protect our energy, to protect our minds, and by doing so, we will be able to lead our people and our business, and also we can be able to live well, I can say, with quality, strength, and purpose. So yeah, so in the end, mental health is not a weakness. When you have any problem, you can find anyone who is I can say, professional, or even people here in Agra, they can help us to find professional. When we approach them as young entrepreneurs, they will definitely help us to find people who can help us, and we share with them what we need. And also we have to learn and to accept things as they are, to learn to acknowledge challenges, setbacks, and limitation without feeling guilty or judgment. Yes, and also taking care of our mental health is not selfish, it's essential. So when we accept what we cannot control and we focus on what we can, and create space for the rest and recovery, will lead better and make clear decisions and inspire other people to do the same. So this is my theory, and that I always work on every day to help to improve my business, and also to make sure I am mentally fit. Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Irene. As we're closing down, I don't know whether Stella, you have any words, final words, maybe 1 minute or 2 minutes that you have before I invite Bwana Kuda question from Watetepa to share the closing remarks. Stella?
Did you talk to me?
No, I'm talking to Stella. I don't know if she's still in the room.
I am in the room, Kimathi. I'm in the room. What would you like me to do?
I just wanted you to, we are closing the meeting, and I wanted you to share your closing remarks if you have any. And then we can give Kuda the chance to also talk and conclude the meeting.
Yeah, I just would like to, first of all, thank you so much, Kimathi and Robert, for organizing this. And most of all, I'd like to thank our participants, our youth from Eastern and Southern Africa, for always participating in these events. We really appreciate you taking your time and also finding this as learning opportunities. We appreciate the experiences you have been sharing on chat, and we look forward to continue interacting with you. I just wanted to mention that we have these webinars every month. And if there's any topic that you would also like to share, please just communicate to Kuda or Kimathi, and we'll be happy to have you also share your experience. We don't say that we know it all, but we are creating opportunity for all of us to learn from each other. I appreciate the professors that I see here. Maybe we can also have them as Sitembile, and I also saw other professors from other countries. We really appreciate that you are taking opportunity to learn from here, and we really look forward to continue with this partnership. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Stella. Kwashe, Watetepa.
Thank you, Kimathi. I think still I've actually closed the meeting. But anyway, I'll just part with 2-3 words. First of all, I would want to thank our only coach in the room, Robert. Thank you so much. I learned a lot. It was quite a powerful conversation and quite refreshing. You know, when we have these webinars, we always look for opportunities and where we are going to make money. But for today, I think I did learn a lot. And also, I would want to thank Charles and Irene for coming up with practical examples. Let's not do what we cannot be able to achieve. Like when you're running a business, start small, know where to employ, know when not to employ. So really to everyone, your presence and engagement made this webinar very successful. And let's carry forward the strength to pause, reflect, and build the resilience in our journeys of the business. We might be doing different business. We might not be in agriculture and processing, but let's pause, reflect, and build the resilience and not turn away from whatever we are doing. So in closing, we look forward to see you again next month, same time, as we also are going to share for another webinar. I close this meeting. Have a good day. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. And God bless.